A while ago, we looked at reflexive verbs, those verbs that act on themselves. So, levantarse is to get oneself up. Lavarse, to wash oneself. So let's just have a quick recap and see what we can remember. How would we say, I get up early? Me levanto pronto. Me levanto pronto. How about he has a shower before lunch? He has a shower before lunch. Se ducha antes de comer o antes de la comida. Se ducha antes de la comida. How would we say they get angry? And the infinitive is enfadarse. Enfadarse. The se on the end telling us that it's a reflexive verb. Enfadarse. How do we say they get angry? Se enfadan. Se enfadan. What about the imperative? Get up. Levántate. Levántate. And what about shut up or be quiet? To say the infinitive to shut up or to be quiet is callarse. Callarse. C-A-L-L-A-R-S-E. Callarse. So how would we say be quiet? Cállate. Cállate. What about shut up and carry on working? Cállate y sigue trabajando. Cállate y sigue trabajando. Now there are some verbs where the meaning changes when they become reflexive. And we've already seen an example of this with quedar and the reflexive quedarse. So quedar on its own is to meet up with. Quedé con un amigo. I met up with a friend. And quedarse, the reflexive, is to stay. Me quedé en casa de un amigo. I stayed with a friend. Or at a friend's house. Now we're going to look at two more examples. Dormir is to sleep, but dormirse is to fall asleep or to go to sleep. Dormir, to sleep. Dormirse, to fall asleep or to go to sleep. Our other example is quitar is to remove, and quitarse is to take off. For example, an item of clothing. So, quitar and quitarse. Quitar, to remove, and quitarse, to take off. How would we say, I fell asleep? I fell asleep. Me dormí. Me dormí. How about, he got angry because I fell asleep in class. He got angry because I fell asleep in class. Se enfadó porque me dormí en clase. Se enfadó porque me dormí en clase. How about they sleep well because it's very quiet where they live? They sleep well because it's very quiet where they live. So two things here. First of all, remember we're saying they sleep, not they fall asleep, but they sleep well. And also remember that dormir in the present tense, it's a stem change in verb. That means it's a verb whose stem gets stressed and changes, and the O changes to UE in the same way as volver goes to vuelvo or vuelven. So they sleep, the O will change to UE as well. So again, it's they sleep well because it's very quiet where they live. Duermen bien porque es muy tranquilo donde viven. Duermen bien porque es muy tranquilo donde viven. So, duermen, they sleep. If we wanted to say they fall asleep very easily because it's quiet, we would say se duermen fácilmente. And how would we say they removed the food? They removed the food. Quitaron la comida. Quitaron la comida. And it might be they removed the food from the table, or they took away the food from the table. Quitaron la comida de la mesa. How would we say, I can't remove the stain? I can't remove the stain. And stain is mancha. La mancha, the stain. La mancha. I can't remove the stain. No puedo quitar la mancha. No puedo quitar la mancha. And incidentally, stain remover, a pre-wash stain remover, is called quita manchas. Quita manchas. So stain remover, quita manchas. How about I took off something? I took off something. Me quité algo. Me quité algo. And how about I took off my t-shirt? I took off my t-shirt. Now we know that my t-shirt would be mi camiseta. Mi camiseta. But the Spanish tend to use the t-shirt. When they're using a reflexive verb and talking about either body parts or clothes, they say the. So for example, if we were saying, I washed my hands, they would say, I washed the hands. Me lavé las manos. And the same applies with clothing. So they would say, I took off the t-shirt rather than my t-shirt. And what would that be? Me quité la camiseta. Me quité la camiseta. What about, I'm hot. I'm going to take off my jersey. Or jumper. I'm hot. I'm going to take off my jersey. And jersey is the same in Spanish, just with the Spanish pronunciation. Tengo calor. Voy a quitarme el jersey. Tengo calor. Voy a quitarme el jersey. How about, take off those shoes, they're mine. Take off those shoes, they're mine. Quítate, quítate esos zapatos. Son míos. Quítate esos zapatos. Son míos. And talking of remove, quitar, remove. Remove or remover, the verb remover, R-E-M-O-V-E-R, in Spanish, is also a false friend, because remover does not mean to remove, it means to stir something, to stir. So for remove it's quitar, and remover has nothing to do with removing, but means to stir something. So how would you say, you have to stir the milk and sugar? Tienes que remover la leche y azúcar. How would you say, stir it? Stir it. Remuévelo. Remuévelo.